So here we're going to learn how to do this analysis, okay? Oh, not analysis, visualization of data, where we can see the data within an HTML file, and we're going to reconstruct this from scratch. So let's go ahead and do this. So the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to console, hopefully you have something in console, and what you're going to do is copy one line at a time and install these packages. So take a moment and do that. I already did it. So for example, you just copy and paste it. It's just like that and then press enter. All right, so that's that. The next thing I want to discuss with you all is this concept of a data frame. Okay, a data frame is a data set that has the variables as columns and the rows as observations. So a very famous data set is something called iris. So if you just do iris, you'll see the entire data frame and you'll scroll up. The columns are rows. The columns are variables and the rows are observations. Okay, so you know that these four are quantitative and species is categorical. All right, so what we're going to do is create a new R Markdown file from here. Okay, so you're going to press this green plus button to your top left, click on R Markdown. You can specify the title of the project. We're going to say Learning R Video. And then from there, we will enter our name. My name's already there because I already have this. And then I'll press OK. And so when you do this, you'll notice that there's a bunch of stuff already in the file. So delete from line 8 on, okay? And so we have an empty R Markdown file, which is great. So what you can do is if you press knit right here, this will compile this into an HTML file, but you have to save it. So we'll just call it, I'll call it the same thing, part 2, okay? P2, okay, that's fine. So you have to save it. And when you run it, you get this empty file. That's great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Let's just go ahead and close that. The next thing that we're going to do is create an R chunk. Okay, we're going to create an R chunk. What I mean by R chunk, what that is just a chunk of R code. So if I press insert, then I press R, it will create an R chunk for me. So if I were to say, you know, iris, not there, but here, and then run this. If you're using Macs, I believe it's Command Shift K. If you're using Windows, it's Control Shift K. If I do Control Shift K, it knits it for me. Okay, and so it's going to show the entire data set. But we don't want to always do that. We want to be able to summarize it or visualize it. So let's do that. So what I'm going to just tell you as a preface is that the explanatory variables are always going to be in green and the response variable is always going to be in red. And since we're doing ANOVA, these are the specifications. Categorical for explanatory variable and the quantitative variable for the response variable. And so this little thing here is a little annoying. It's an operator, and an operator allows you to do certain things. So one of the things that you can do is if you want to see the very first 6 rows of your data frame, you can just do head of the data frame, right? Or you can do head pipe, okay? The shortcut is Control Shift M or Command Shift M for Mac, okay? Or you can just type it. That's not what I meant to do. It's supposed to be iris here, and then HAD, and then this will do the same exact thing. Okay, so nothing too crazy here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this little thing out and I'm going to keep it here. I'm just going to explain the code from now on. So here, this little function allows you to simply create a box plot for the ANOVA. So I'm going to say box plot, our method 1 box plot. Okay, and where my explanatory variable is X, my response variable is here, steeple length, and notice that I'm using quotations. Okay, so here at least. And so that creates that plot. Okay. But the thing is, let's say you want to be more fancy. So we'll call this next one method 2. And here you can be more fancy by labeling the labels. You can actually now label it. Let's say you want everything to be speech, capital letters, species for X, and then you want that dot to be gone. So you do sepal length. Okay, sepal length. That's great. And then let's say you want the title to be just something. Literally something. It doesn't matter. Actually, it doesn't matter. So make sure it's detailed, all right, in your length. But in terms of time, I'm just going to leave that blank for now. And I run that, and there we go. I think I spelled species right, did I? Yeah, I did. All right. And if you want to even be more, fancy, okay, you can do method 3. You have a box plot, as you see earlier. I'm just going to copy and paste this line. Just so I can have the same labels. But I can put some dots on it. So make this a dot plot as well. So there's another layer. Okay. And so here's the code. So it makes it look nice and fancy. And then last but not least, if I want to be able to see the sample size, the mean, and the standard deviation by group, okay, I'm going to group by species, and then I'm going to provide summary statistics here. Okay. And then when I'm done, I can knit all this together. And I'll get the code all together. And so I'll provide both, okay? I will provide this code within Canvas so that you can have access to it. That's it. All right, thank you. I'll provide